All right, so it is just before Labor Day weekend. So basically, I had decided in the spring to wait to the fall to give me some more time to sort out my backyard and get everything where I want it before I put in grass and sprinklers, so I don't have to do it 2 times. So I've put out some flags showing where I'm going to put some sprinklers in, but ultimately it really only has to be 2 more zones because the area back here is much shadier, and I can shift a zone back here as well. And since I put in the gravel drive, that took out some space. So what I'm gonna do back here is take the zone that wrapped around and goes down the driveway, which is now pointless. I'm just gonna flip those around and add a couple more and change the nozzles. So that'll cover that whole left side. And then I had already brought a main line up to feed back there where the fire pit is. So I'm just gonna redig that, find the main line, attach 2 more valves in, and then do a zone that follows those flags up to where the shelter logic is, then cuts over, comes down near the big maple tree. That's so I can hopefully avoid most of its roots. And then the final zone will have 1 flag off of here, then wrap around back behind the trailers and go along the rock wall and spray, of course, inwards. And maybe put one in the middle over there, kind of behind the trailer tongue, just to cover a bit more. But in the end, it comes out to be about 10 or so sprinkler heads that I'm adding in, and that should be just fine for back here. So now what I want to do is kind of come from this side over here to this side and kind of re-push a lot of this soil that I spread out in the beginning of the season through the middle, and kind of just get that over to that side so I can have it lumped up for trucks to come over when they dump soil, as well as figure out kind of where my subgrade is so that I can trench my lines for the sprinkler system. And then from what I can remember, the line that feeds back there that I brought back kind of comes down through this area here and then cuts across diagonally towards around where the bottom of the dump trailer is on the hill or somewhere around there. So my goal is to try and find that line somewhere in this area, and that'll let me put another box right up here so I can split off the 2 valves going this way. All right, that kind of cleans up the grade, takes out a little bit of the lump in the center I had, and gives me a little berm right next to the road there to give me something for a truck to come down on. As well as I took some of the material back from what washed out and some extra and just backfilled in this area. Definitely need something to retain that. I definitely need something to retain that soil, so, you know, putting some fabric there, maybe some plants, or right now crabgrass is probably going to grow there, so that'll be holding it, but something just to keep the runoff that's coming from the road that I can't get to go away will have to be retained in that soil. Okay, so now my plan is to dig out all of the trenching for the sprinkler head line. The easiest way of me probably doing this is just going around with a grading bucket and taking it and V'ing out a little path, rather than doing a full bucket width trench or anything like that, because it's only a 1-inch poly line and I'll be burying it under a bunch of other soil anyway. So if I just get it down a couple inches on this subgrade, it should be good. So I have all the sprinkler heads marked where I want them. They're all roughly 30 feet apart back here because it gets a lot more shade, and I wanted to keep the zones down, so I didn't want to put too many heads in. So in order for me to figure out where the lines are going, I first need to know where the valve box is going. Like I had said before, there is a main line we ran up here for water access, and it kind of comes down to the right of these trees, and I believe it comes right down where I'm standing and turns off around here and then follows the hill down right to the right of where I put in the patio, straight towards where the inlet or the outlet is on the house. So I'm going to try taking the grading bucket and scraping away, hopefully parallel with the pipe. Don't have teeth on this bucket, so I'm trying not to destroy the pipe so I can cut into it nicely without putting too many couplers on it. So we'll see if I can find it around here and then trace it to figure out where I want to put the valve box. All right, I found the pipe. I had forgotten to turn the valve off down there, so it started spraying, but I just cornered it with the bucket. So I should be able to just cut it on either end or whatever, couple it into the valves, and then put a spacer in between the valves. Alright, so I just have a bunch of straight fittings and 90 fittings, so I put this kind of jank setup here because this line ultimately turns like this and then just kind of goes straight. And both of the lines that I want to take off of this, one goes up like that, and then the other one goes up like that. So in order to get both of these valves fitting in the box and facing a way that makes it somewhat easy to get both of those lines running out, I figured it would just be easiest to not dig up this whole line and move everything, and just make a little angle connector to force the line back, and then I can take the lines out and run them out around the front. Alright, so now I know where this is situated. I can work around with the excavator to make the trenches sourcing from here out to all the other locations. Now the easiest one I'm going to start with is this zone number 10 that does around this edge and back behind where I now have the gravel. I'm just going to extend that and flip it all the way down the side of this road. So the easiest will be to just take away some of this material over here that I can just lay the line straight. Okay, so I'm going to abandon the line that cuts across here and goes to those two heads. I'm just going to dig those two heads up, and then I will just attach the line from here and then bring it out through this way. Alright, so it's been raining a whole bunch the last few days and over the course of the last week, so this whole area right here was absolutely just muddy as all can be. And you can actually see over here just the ruts that the trucks made coming through. So I've basically just been sitting here waiting to finish this backyard, and it's been annoying, but 2 loads have been delivered. I have another 2 coming, and I may go for a 5th. But since I had so much topsoil that I kind of respread in this area, I didn't need to go as crazy over here, so it's really just kind of coating everything else. So I'm gonna go ahead and start spreading these loads, and then when the guys come back, if it looks like I need another load or 2, I'll just see if they can go run and grab another. Alright, so I've got all the loam spread out back here. I probably could have used a little bit more over there, but I'm not too concerned about back here. Realistically, this area over here is going to get more sun, and that area over there is going to be pretty shaded the whole time, so just need some soil to get some grass growing. And what I'm going to do now is go through with the landscape rake to get out all the ruts and everything like that. All right, so that turned out pretty good up here. I just have to go back through and hand rake some stuff after I put in the sprinkler heads, just because it's way too awkward to get the machine in between those trees. But before I do that, I have a couple of spots on the hill here that I replanted in the spring, but unfortunately, just with the way the weather timing was, the crabgrass just absolutely dominated the spots that I planted. So I want to try and take the landscape rake that's on it right now and just try to till up the area. It's not the best at doing that, but these areas like right here and here, and then this area all the way down through the bottom of the hill, right where the line went right through, it's all just completely dominated by crabgrass. So even if I kill it, it's just going to be a bunch of dead grass. So let me see if I can just rip through this maybe and then replant when I replant up here. Well, that worked really well. I'm pretty impressed. Usually I would have expected this to bounce a bit more and not really rip out any of that material, but pretty much ripped out everything I wanted. So let me go hit the other spots. Okay, so it's been about 3.5 weeks now, and all of the grass is really filled in nicely. I think I lost some footage, but on this left half, my dad and I spread a couple of bales of hay from the wall job we did for the erosion control. We just took that and threw it over this, and it helped it really kind of keep its moisture in the sun over here, and helped with some erosion running all the way down this side of the slope. But you can see down here the stuff I put in to patch up all that crabgrass. This stuff sprouted up real good in all of the spots that I planted it. And then everything came in pretty full back here for only about 3 weeks of growth. Of course, now that it's the fall, we're starting to get all the leaves dropping, so I'm gonna have to go through here and blow a lot of this out. And of course down here when I was doing it, I didn't check my grade, and there's a little pocket right in here that fills with water, so I'll probably have to get another scoop or so of dirt to fill this out so it doesn't just hold water. But pretty much everything else came in real nice and full. And then of course, next year this will all fill in just like the rest of my yard, and it'll be nice and usable.